Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel and thank you for watching today's video. And I just want to say a big thank you to all the new and old subscribers for my last video, and the views, everything was just amazing. So some people it's not a lot of views, but when you've been in and out of YouTube or your channel, whatever, it's amazing to get such good response. And today I'm going to be talking to you guys about my labor and delivery story. Oh my god, obviously from my last video you can tell that I was very heavy. I was 36 weeks pregnant and a few days, and I remember my 37-week appointment I was told that I would be induced. I was super happy, which was about 37 weeks and 4 days when I was told I was being induced. I wanted to be induced at 37 weeks, but that didn't work. I hope I'm talking loud enough because my baby is sleeping and I'm just kind of watching her through the monitor. I have a baby girl. I have a daughter, and so yeah, I was told I'd been induced, so it's story time now. So I was told I'd been induced, so I came to the hospital and I was told I'd been induced at 37 weeks, but we couldn't get an appointment or schedule for the induction, so I had to wait until I was 38 weeks and 5 days before I was induced. But obviously we wanted it to be about 38 weeks or whatever, close to the 39-week mark, but whatever it was. If you've watched my last video, you would see that I am. If you haven't seen that video, I'll put a wild card up. I had quite a rough pregnancy. I don't want to say difficult, but it was quite rough. And so when I was told I was going to be induced, oh my god, I was so happy. I was so happy. It felt like someone gave me the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. That's how I felt when I was told that I'd been induced. I was so happy. Yeah, so when they told me, I was like, thank god I can finally get this baby out. Obviously I was excited to meet my baby, and my body was already tired, so when you add those two together, it was double excitement. So yeah, I'm just gonna turn down the monitor because I have one of those monitors that talks back. So I just make sure it's not too low as well, so I can hear in case the baby cries. Yeah, so with that being said, so yeah, and then I was induced. I was told to come in. I remember going into the hospital on a Thursday, which was I think the 12th. Yeah, I went in on the 12th of September, and I remember going into the hospital with my husband and my mom, and you know, I was checked in and everything. I would try and include some videos and whatnot in this story, labor and delivery story. And I was checked into the hospital, and obviously I was relaxing, chilling on the bed and everything, and then the doctors came with my file and they saw me. Do you know what, everything, the normal process that happens in the hospital. And after seeing me, they then told me that they were going to give me some sort of they were explaining what was going to happen, and they asked me if I already knew what was going to happen. I told them I had an idea, but I wasn't too sure, so they kind of explained to me what was going to happen. So the doctor that came was from my specialist. So my specialist, or my professor, like they call him prof, and you know, they went through everything and said they were, you know, gonna give me a propers. So the propers was supposed to get my labor kind of started and kicking. Now I know in America people would go for their checkup and they'll tell you you're 1 centimeter dilated, you're 2 centimeters dilated. Here in Ireland they don't do that. They don't tell you. Maybe sometimes some people go to their 37 weeks appointment, they say you're 2 centimeters dilated or 3. They don't do that here in Ireland. They basically go by when you're actually in labor. That's how they go, which was kind of weird because I was watching so many labor and delivery videos and most of them was from the US. And I remember they came in, they checked my pelvics and all that kind of jazz and whatever. The midwife was asking me how my pericardial pain was, and I told them I was still in a lot of pain. And anyways, they did all that and they checked me in, and I was given propers. Let me tell you something. When people tell you that when you're induced that the labor is more painful, so they gave me propers. So when they gave me propers, I was there, you know, I was still okay. It wasn't kicking in yet, you know, I was chilling and everything. About 5 p.m. the propers started to kick in. So basically the propers was supposed to stay in my body, I think for 24 or 12 hours. I believe it was 24 hours to kind of get it started. If it kickstarts your labor, then they wouldn't have to give you more medication to kickstart labor. So if that happened, so but the propers didn't, so they gave me the propers and it was kicking in. At this time my husband had to take my mom back home because obviously I could only have one person with me, which is my next of kin and which is my husband. And then I texted my friend Esther. She knew I was coming to the hospital that day. She already knew that I was being induced that day. I was coming. I think she was the only person I literally told the exact day and everything that I was being induced. So she came. So anyways, I was there by myself. I was laboring, and then my friend Esther, I texted her and told her what ward and everything I was, and she came to check on me, which was really good because then that took my mind off of laboring for some time, not long. And then after her shift, I'll include some of those clips of videos. After her shift, in the I think they do like 12 hours shift or 10-hour shift. I think she does 12-hour shift every time. I can't even imagine such a hard job. And then she came after her shift to labor with me. So she was teaching me all this stuff like breathe, like, you know, the things that midwives tell you to do, because she's a midwife. She's like, breathe, you know. Yeah, she was trying to make jokes to kind of help me. Look here, baby P. This is Auntie Esther, the one and only, the real one. So we're here with Mommy P. Mommy P's in labor. This thing is not staying now. But like, she's bouncing on the ball for you. Get out! Get out of here! She's not having it anymore. Say hi to your baby.
After all this, if you like, come out looking like your dad.
You're tensing your body. You have to relax.
Mom's actually Jesus. Jesus, I'm not dying. I was like, it's not like I'm dying. Like, this is not the time to squeeze my hand. Okay, come squeeze my hand. But don't squeeze it too tight. No, are you sure this is not the real thing? It's a different name. I actually don't know. I just feel sorry for you if you think this is bad, like. Shit.
You two big mama dance. If you was a baby mama, how does it go again? Do baby, she got trick. Okay, you ask us, good you know. You should ask this. Okay, yeah.
Like a stripper.
Because you're a fucking stripper. Okay, sorry. Come on, let's laugh this baby. Drink water. Drink a coconut water.
No, thanks, I'm good.
I told you to try and have a shower. Drink more water. I'll get it for you.
Through the process. Oh my god. There were times where the pain was so bad I just gave her like dirty looks, like shut up your mouth, like zip it. Like the pain was so bad. And after that, the propers, so basically the longer the propers, the more the pain kicks in. So the pain was kicking in, and I think it was about 10 p.m. or 9:30, and she had to leave. So she told me, listen, she told me to take a shower, that it would help. I refused. And I was like, no, I don't want to take a shower. Then she told me to sit on the bouncing ball. I sat there for a while, and then I got up. I was like, no, it's making my pain worse. And I got up and I was like holding things, you know, Jesus. And then afterwards, I was like holding things and whatnot. Now, afterwards, we then went to, then she left. Obviously, she had to go home. So, and then she told me to call my husband. So I called my husband to come back into the hospital. And my husband was like, is the labor thing like going? I was like, yeah, I'm in pain. They've given me propers and whatnot. And they were like, okay. And he was like, okay. Within the space of a few minutes, my husband came and Esther left. So when when my husband, and the pain was getting worse, and of course, like most women, the minute you see your husband, if your pain is 10, you act like it's 35. So, but jokes apart, now my pain was insane. So then the purpose, I was still doing like still breathing in a nice way, and then the pain started to kick in, and then I was like to my husband, I'm taking a shower, and then he escorted me to the bathroom. The thing I love about the hospital is the bathroom is only for one person, so your spouse can be in there with you. So there I was in the shower, there's a seat, so my husband sat outside of the shower and I was in the shower, and I refused to come out. Let me tell you, when you're in labor, now I can understand when people try to have water birth. When you're in labor, oh my God, that hot shower takes your pain from 100, I'm not exaggerating, to literally 50. From 100 to even 30. That warm, I was in the shower, I refused, I think I was there for more than an hour, I refused to come out. My husband was like, you have to come out of the shower, there's other people that are laboring that might need to use the shower. I was like, because here in Ireland, even if you're a private patient, when you are being induced or initially laboring, you're in a normal, you're in a shared, even if you're a private patient, you're in a shared, what's it called, ward, until you have your baby, then you're put in a room all by yourself. And my husband was like, there's other people that might want to come out. And then anyways, I came out and I continued laboring, and obviously he had to go home, so he went home that night. And then on Friday, and at night the pain was getting worse and worse and worse and worse, and then I couldn't sleep. So because I couldn't sleep, I called one of the midwives, and I was already having headaches and everything. I couldn't sleep, I was in pain, and they already knew I had such a stressful thing going on. And then they came and she was like, okay, I'm going to give you this injection. I'm going to give you, I think, 3 or 2 doses or something on your butt cheek, and it will reduce the pain. Listen, you're already in pain and they're telling they're going to give you an injection when you know you don't like injection. So there I was, I brought out my butt cheek. I was like, if it's going to take this pain away, please give me that injection. So they gave me the injection. It didn't do shit. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that word. It didn't do shit. Let me just be honest with you. That thing did not do shit. Now, after that injection, I continued to labor with the propers. It was so bad that I told the midwife, I pressed the buzzer again. And she ran. This was maybe 4 hours after the injection. I pressed the button. I was like, I still can't sleep. I'm in so much pain. And I was literally, at this point, I was crying. So let me tell you. So when the nurse, I was still like, in pain. And then the midwife came and she was like, oh, I can take out the propers. And I was like, okay, cool. And then she was like, okay, let me check how dilated you are or whatever. Let me see what's going on, if there's been much progress. And she checked. I was like, maybe about 1 centimeter. There hasn't been much progress. I was like, in my mind, I was like, Jesus Christ. With all that pain going up and down the place, you're telling me it's only been like... She was like, yeah, there hasn't been that much, yada, yada, yada. And then as she was putting her hands in to check my pelvics and everything, I told her I wanted to pee. And she was like, okay. And water just went everywhere. So I was thinking, fam, I just peed myself. And she was like, no, your water broke. I was like, my water broke? She was like, yeah. And anyways, and she was like, yeah, your water broke. And they were like, okay, they had to quickly write the time down, and they gave me pads to go and put on a pad, and when pads full, I bring the pad to them. They were taking notes down. I'm sure it was already because of maybe so I don't get infection or whatever, blah blah blah. Now come Friday morning, remember that was Thursday night to Friday morning. Come Friday, I was there. They've taken out the propers because I was in so much pain. The doctor came and said, look, they've taken out I was told your propers was taken out. My specialist came and said, I was told your propers was taken out. I was like, yeah, I was in so much pain and I couldn't sleep, and I just couldn't, my body couldn't take it at that point. And obviously, more like most pregnant women would have high blood pressure, all these things. It's like so much going on. And so when we finished that, they were like, okay, fine, I would see what's gonna happen. So I was laboring, I was getting a bit of contraction every now and then. So I used my phone. I was timing my contractions because I'm this kind of person throughout my pregnancy. When I go to the doctor, I like to give details. So I was timing my contraction, because trust me, I'm brewing life here, so it was important to me. So even being in the hospital, I was still tracking my contractions myself. And after on, there was a lady beside me, not initially beside me, I was on this end and she was like way on the other end. And so she was laboring so badly, like in so much pain. And I was thinking they called her up to give birth before me. And I remember on Friday night stroke Saturday morning, I was the midwife came. Let me tell you, this part in the whole thing really blew me away. So the midwife came and was like, she tapped me. This was exactly 2 a.m. She was like, get up, and then I was like, yeah. She was like, we're moving you upstairs to the delivery suite. And remember, my purpose has been taken out, so I just had every now and then labor, every now and then contractions. So I was like, delivery suite. She was like, yeah, upstairs. You're gonna go upstairs now and you're gonna give birth. And I'm looking at her like, I'm not really having labor pain like that. So why am I giving birth? She was like, yeah, you're giving birth now. Yeah, you're gonna go upstairs and you're gonna give birth. Then I'm like, give birth? And she was looking at me like, Kilo Shele. And she's like, what's wrong with this one? And she was packing my stuff for me, and like, up we go. And then we got upstairs and I was looking at them. They were like putting now, before I went before that time, during the day on Friday, they already put a line in my hand. But one thing was, I never really asked them what the line was for. I just thought it's in case maybe they wanted to give me drip or whatever the situation would be, that they might wanted to give me something. That's why they were putting the line in me. So they took me upstairs and they put the line in my hand. Obviously the line was already there Friday, and they took me upstairs, and I got upstairs, and my midwife, she introduced herself, and she was so lovely. I can't really think of her name. Oh, no, she wasn't the midwife that delivered my baby, but she was the midwife that started my shift. So she was there, and there was a student midwife, and everyone was just, you know, they were so nice. They were so sweet. Like, oh my God, they were amazing. And then they were doing stuff, and she was like to me, no, actually, when she was packing my stuff, so she told me, you're going upstairs, you're going to give birth. And she said, call your husband and tell him to come. And you know, when you're not in pain, I was not really in pain at this point anymore, because purpose has been taken out. So I was like, anyways, I picked up the phone reluctantly and I called my husband. I was like, oh, start coming. They said I'm going to have the baby. He was like, are you in labor? I was like, nope. But they said I'm having the baby. We're going upstairs to deliver. So my husband my husband is one of those people that he's a shower addict. He takes a shower even, I swear, if our Lord Jesus Christ was coming, my husband would take a shower first. So he took a shower, got dressed, and came, because apparently he said he wanted to make sure he looked tip-top. Is it tip-top? Tuk-tuk? Anyways, he wanted to look sharp when his baby arrived. So, and I was looking like a bad person. Anyway, so this was around 2 a.m. I was taken upstairs to the delivery suite, and the next thing that happened was my husband came. My husband came pretty quickly, actually. He came with my mom. He came pretty quickly. My husband was allowed in, my mom was outside. My midwife didn't really want too many people in, so my mom was outside. They allowed my mom actually come see me. My mom came and everything, and she gave me like a pep talk and all that. And then, you know, and then by that time they put in all the medical stuff to help my labor going. I don't know if it's Pitocin, everything, they put it in. And I was given, oh, I've forgotten the name of this thing I was given. Anyways, there was something I was given, I can't remember the name. I used to call it all the time. I can't remember the name. I was given something, and that thing was taken, everything was kind of helping labor go, and the labor pain started. Jesus. Oh my God. Let me tell you, the labor pains started. Now, these pains, I don't know how to describe the labor pains. They were like bottles, like hot bottles, and hot chili. I don't even know. It's not a pain you can explain unless you've experienced. It's like the worst period pain ever you've ever had in your life. But imagine you having those pains and someone taking hot bottles and hot knife and stabbing you at the same time. And that's the best way I can describe it. It was so bad. Obviously, I'm being induced, so obviously when you're induced, you feel more pain because it's forced labor. And then we were doing that. My husband was still on his phone, and I was like, oh my God. I was in my feelings. I was like, don't use that phone anymore. The more you use the phone, the more angry I get. He was like, okay, it's fine, don't worry. He was like rubbing my hands and telling me it's okay, don't worry babe, everything is gonna be fine. And then I was like, oh my god. And when the pain started to come and I would scream, my husband would be like, what happened? You know, he's like, what happened? He says it in Yoruba, like, what happened? I'm like, I'm in pain. And then he's like, oh, sorry. And he would rub my hand. The second time he did it. Then the third time he had his phone on the other. I was like, drop that phone. And then he was like, what happened? I was like, I'm in pain. He was like, sorry. The fourth time it was like, I screamed again. He was like, what happened? I was like, can't you see I'm in pain? I was like, can't you see I'm in pain? So he dropped his phone. He was like, oh my god, so sorry. He said he didn't realize that the labor had actually started. I was like, fam, this thing have started. And anyways, I continued to labor and labor and labor. Then while I was laboring, they decided, obviously, you know, they'll put the cattle in you so you pee and everything to that. But I don't know who came up with that gas and air thing. That thing doesn't work. Now, let me tell you something. Gas and air, they gave me, I took it the first time. I was like literally sucking out breathing in my head out. The fourth time I literally threw the thing away. I'm like, this doesn't work. I was like, this doesn't work. I literally threw it away. I was like, this doesn't work. And they were like, do you want to get your epidural now? Because you've been laboring for quite a while. Bear in mind, I've been in labor since basically Thursday. I did mention from the start, even during my antenatal, that I wanted epidural. So when they asked me if I wanted my epidural now, so I was laboring for a good bit of time. So by this time, the midwives, they've already changed shifts. While my midwives were handing over, the professional, the anesthesiologist came in and was doing the epidural. So they gave me all the rules and regulation on how it works, all the rules, all the terms and conditions of how the epidural would work. My husband was literally begging me, please hold still, hold still. So my husband was there in front of me and they were doing everything. So he was kind of giving me signs, because I'm not good with needle, telling me they're numbing the pain. He was kind of giving me signs and explaining to me, so I would hold still and not move. Obviously, if you've ever gotten an epidural, you already know what that means, how that works. Sorry. So I got my epidural and I took a nap. Now this is where I think it's important. We live in a world whereby nowadays everyone wants to know, I had a natural unmedicated birth. Good luck. That's good. If you can, that's good. My mom wanted me to have a natural unmedicated birth, but from the start I told her I'm not having no natural, no unmedicated birth. I'm happy I did it, because if I had done natural or medicated birth, which wasn't kind of possible because I was already being induced, I was already medicated. But if I didn't get epidural, let me put it that way, if I didn't get the epidural, I wouldn't have been able to push. I would have exhausted all my energy. Now there was this doctor on duty. I think she's Nigerian. Yeah, she is Nigerian. She was really amazing. Now it's not about nationality, it's just she was really good at her job. So obviously when you're in the hospital, your midwife and your doctors have to work cohesively in order for them to get the best results. So she came in and was like, oh, I was supposed to start pushing the baby, I think around 12 or something p.m. and noon, and the doctor was like, no. And then my mom, I think, already had a discussion with the doctor outside, kind of like got to know her, saying hi, blah blah blah. Oh, we were from the same, where are you from? You know, my mom is very typical, like, where are you from, blah blah blah. Oh, you speak Yoruba. And they were doing this and that, and kind of like just a nice light conversation. She was actually the one that brought my mom into the room to give me a pep talk. And then she left the room. And then the doctor was like to the midwife, actually, don't let her start pushing until, I think she said 2 o'clock or something. And then she told me in Yoruba that, the reason why she said so is because the way African women, our body are shaped, when we're in labor, we need more time for the baby's head to dilate, to descend into that area very well, before, even if you're already 10 centimeters, if they could give you another 1 hour to 2 hours for your baby's head to descend correctly, your pushing would be easier. There would be like you would have more of a smoother push out, because if not, it's so much easier for them to just cut us up. Anyways, I started to, so when that time came, obviously after I woke up from my nap, we were pushing and pushing and pushing. At this point I had a epidural, so I wasn't feeling any more pain. I would only feel the tightening of the contraction, which was hallelujah. And anyways, when we started that process, we did that, and then we were pushing. So when it came to 2 o'clock, I think we started pushing for about 30 minutes. So we were pushing, and then the same doctor came in again and told them to stop, to give me more time, so to tell them to stop. So at this point, I think my heart rate was dropping, my baby's heart rate was dropping. When they said that, I freaked out. And she came back into the room and was like, it's okay. She was like, to the midwife, it's okay. She was like, we're going to take a sample of blood from the baby's head. And then was I thinking, like, how are you going to take blood sample from the baby's head? The baby is still inside my stomach. And she was like, it's fine, we're going to take a sample of blood from the baby's head and we're going to test it. If the baby is stressed, then we'll take you in and prepare you for a C-section. If the baby isn't stressed, then if the baby isn't stressed, then we would allow you to push again. And then the baby, and then they did that sample the first time, and it was borderline. And she came back and said the good news is it's borderline. It means the baby isn't stressed, the baby isn't it's in between. The baby is not too stressed. The baby is just in between stressed and being okay. So we're going to try the test again in 30 minutes. So they came in and tried, before they were going to try the test again, the head midwife on duty came in and was like to my husband, if she has any jewelry, take it off. She was literally trying to prepare me for a C-section already. Like literally trying to prepare me for a C-section already. She was like to my husband, take off any jewelry she might have on, everything, tie her hair up for her. We need to start getting her. And then I swear that doctor was just a God-sent doctor to me on duty. And then she came back into the room. I was like, give her more time, give her more time, let's do the test again. They came and took another blood sample from my baby's head, and she was like, wow, your baby has a lot of hair. And then she was like to my husband, do you want to have a look? Now, my husband is this kind of person. All through my pregnancy, if I'm like, oh my god, the baby just turned, every now and then he put his hand, like reluctantly, he would be like, don't disturb the baby, don't be disturbing the baby. He would say things like, don't disturb the baby. If I'm like, look what the baby, he's like, just leave the baby alone, please. Just let this baby grow in peace. So I was really surprised that when it came to actual labor and delivery, he was like doing the job of with the midwife, like, okay, yeah. So they were like, do you want to have a look and see the baby? He was like, yeah. Then he was like to me, the baby has a lot of hair. He was like, push. So he was like, push. And I was like, anyways. And then they took another blood sample, and then they tested it again, and they were like the same borderline. They were like, okay, so you're good to push. And they waited for me for another few minutes. So it was exactly about 3:40 or 3:42. Yeah, about 3:42 we started pushing. I think it took about 4 pushes or 4 contractions. And the first one I remember, my husband was like, the head is almost out. And then the head went back in. And then my husband was like, just try, give it everything. So exactly 3:47, my daughter came out. She was like eyes open, like looking. I literally grabbed her. I was so emotional, like literally, girl. I was like, oh my god, my baby. I was like, my daughter, my baby, my daughter. I was so happy and so emotional. And the same doctor then told my mom, hey, she's giving birth. My mom came into the room. My mom was so happy, and they were there, and they were just like cutting and just dressing up baby, cleaning her. Like the nurses and midwives on duty were amazing. At exactly, I think 3:40, maybe 3:49, my friend Esther, the midwife, she rang. Normally I wouldn't pick people's call, but it was her. She rang, and my husband was like, Esther. I was like, give me the phone. Esther was like, how is it going? I was like, the baby's here. She was like, when? I was like, just like a minute ago. She was like, oh wow. And because she was off work that day, so she called, and then she would come in to see the baby and all that. So yeah, that's my labor and delivery story. And after that, I was in the hospital for a few days, and we were discharged, and we came home with our daughter. I wish she was awake actually, so I could show you guys, but she's right here. She is sleeping away on the monitor. So it is what it is. So yeah, I hope this story really I don't know what people get. Actually, I hope this story motivates someone that you can do it, because honestly, all through my pregnancy, the way my pregnancy was so crazy, I didn't think I would push. I thought that maybe it'd be a C-section. like, because I was already, my body was already in so much stress. I thought it'd be a C-section. So anyways, I was happy that I was able to push. And the good thing about this was I didn't have any tear. I didn't have any tear whatsoever, so my recovery was pretty good. And down below, I didn't have any tear, I didn't have any, nothing like that, no tear, so which is great. Yeah, and that is it for this video, and thank you guys so much for watching.